Here.
Commissioner Ide.
Here.
Commissioner Smith is delayed. Commissioner Holliday.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Mengelberg is excused. Chair Shaw.
Here. All right, thank you. Any citizen comments this evening? We've got one.
This is for an agenda item, so.
Oh, it's for an agenda. Okay, we're good. Citizen comment. Please come forward and assumed you filled out the card there, huh?
Let the record show that Commissioner Smith has entered the building.
Yes.
Here.
I'm here.
All right, let's get started here.
So my name is Jonathan Stone. I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Oregon City Association and a resident of Oregon City. You set a 15-minute Urban Renewal Commission meeting, and I'm going to show up under citizen comment to make sure you take every last inch of the 15 minutes. Anyways, the reason I'm here is an exciting opportunity that's been brewing at the state level for a while, but they've taken their fair share of time to finally come out with the rules associated with what I'm about to share. It's called the Main Street Revitalization Grant Program, and it's $250 million in funding of lottery-backed bonds available for grants up to $100,000 only in Main Street communities. So that's only 7 business districts in the Portland metro area that have access to this funding. And I think Oregon City has an opportunity to really take advantage of it. And we also see it as a potential to leverage urban renewal funding in a targeted way, and to the extent possible that we can help raise the bar for some of our projects. We've shared some information with some of our property owners, and they're pretty excited about the possibility that this might bring. But basically what there are the grants that the Main Street organization applies for on behalf of our property owners and or other property investors. The rules still aren't that clear, but they're quickly coming put together, and they'll be administered by the Downtown Oregon City Association. But what's interesting about this, despite so little lack of clarity in terms of specifics, they're due in December. So,
Welcome to the state of Oregon.
But basically what the rules state is they're to acquire, rehabilitate, and construct buildings on properties in designated downtown areas, which we are one of, statewide, and to facilitate community revitalization that will lead to private investment, job creation and retention, establishing or expanding viable business, or creating a stronger tax base. It sounds a lot like urban renewal. In terms of potential overlap, we should think about collaborating, and we've already talked with staff about some potential opportunities for that. We've kind of brainstormed some potential projects, and that includes land acquisition in support of strategic development. It could be land acquisition in support of parking enhancements, facade restoration, which urban renewal has been very active in, and more specifically, projects that we know about. The Bush family for a long time has been wanting to do a housing development in their back warehouse building, and that would be an applicable project. Potentially to mitigate site restraints at the 12th and Main site. Also, we talked about the potential, and granted the criteria and rules are still a little bit ambiguous, but maybe could potentially help with some of the needs to just introduce housing in the district overall. Like, think the quiet zone, potentially. I don't know for sure. And obviously any other project within the downtown district that meets stated criteria. But I just wanted to share that information with you. The rules just passed last week, so somehow between now and December they're going to crash together, the criteria and the application and all of that. But basically the Main Street organization has our work cut out for us to identify potential projects that we could spend this money on. So food for thought, think about it, and I just wanted to share that. So are there any questions?
Well, I just want to congratulate you for Main Street Manager of the Year, Jonathan. So,
Thank you.
So, any questions? We good? Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Any other citizen comments this evening? All right. We're going to move to the agenda. She's on for an agenda item. The agenda? We okay?
Yeah.
All right. General business, 4A, 16-507, adoption, or adaptive reuse building rehabilitation program grant for 503 Main Street. Mr. Underwood.
Mr. Vice Chair. You are correct. This is an application for 503 Main Street, otherwise known as the Wheel, for adaptive reuse. The applicant proposes to improve the tenant space where it will be a mixed use. They will be an owner-occupied business there, so the intended use is retail. I think 1,600 square feet of retail and coffee shop, along with 500, a little over 500 square feet of office space, with the additional ability to modify the space for 800 square feet of office space if needed in the future. This building has been sitting vacant for 2 years, a little over 2 years. And it's on a very strategic corner of our main street, right on 99, so it's high visibility. The staff review committee reviewed the project. We paid a visit to the site and looked over the site and like the project. They are adding a facade improvement element to this, but it's not part of the adaptive reuse application. They're doing that on their own, so we've excluded that cost out of the application. But they will be enhancing the facade of or actually 3 sides of the storefront there. There were a couple of things that we were concerned about. One was the window panes and the design of that, but I think it's not something that keeps the project from being awarded. Other concerns might have been the grade of materials where they weren't as clear in the application, so we're not real certain about what the grade of materials are, although we've been informed that they will be a high grade. We've scored the project to 76%. The minimum threshold is 70% in order to move forward for award. And given the fact that we thought it might be a catalytic, it has some catalytic value because nothing's really been done in that part of on Main Street before. We bumped up the score a little bit to 80%, which comes out to an award of $120,000. So we'd be happy to get a new business down there. I think they're going to be providing community space, which is much needed in the neighborhood, along with a coffee shop there. And we think it'd be a good project. So we have approved the application, and we're presenting it to you tonight for your consideration.
All right, thank you, Eric. Any questions up here for Eric?
I have one. So we grant these folks $120,000. They're kind of at the tail end of Main Street. It's going to be probably at least 3 years before we have any real activity happening at the Lamp Falls Legacy Project. So if we give these folks this money and they don't have enough people to survive the business, what do we get out of it?
Well, we get tenable space for downtown. So if they go out of business, then we have space that would otherwise still probably be sitting vacant to use as a retail or office. So that space with this project will be converted to a usable office or retail space that we could later market if we needed to.
Okay.
So they're going to do all the facade improvements themselves, so we don't anticipate having another application for that.
No, we don't. And I asked that question on the site visit.
Okay. All right. Any other? Yes.
Yeah, so with the facade improvements, is that what we saw in the packet that was sent around, or is it?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And the site committee that went was concerned about that? Because I have concerns about it too. To me, it doesn't look it looks more like a jail than
We weren't concerned about the
Carefully, Eric.
facade improvements.
Sorry.
Yeah, we weren't
Sorry.
concerned about the outside design. There was a concern on the committee about the grade of the window panes and the historic element or the historic character of the window panes. I think, and the representative is here tonight, and the architect, he could probably explain it a little better, but The window panes inside, or will be inside the window. They'll be more of the flat. They're not going to be exterior
Okay.
like the historical element. So it casts a different light. So we have someone on the historic review on our committee, and so that was the concern there.
Okay, let's have, has anybody else got questions for Eric here?
Does it need to go to the HRB?
No, it does not. No.
Okay, let's have the applicant come up and tell us all about it here.
Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Derek Metzen, principal at Green Box Architecture. So we received a phone call about this project a few days before the grant application was due. Took a look at it and said, this is important enough that we are going to work our tails off to get it in time. We believe that the south end of Main Street hasn't seen much. It hasn't been touched much. And it's a little lifeless at this point in time. We feel like this is a good way to change it. Dan, Mayor Holliday, your observation is correct. What else is going to happen down there? Well, I can tell you there's 20,000 square feet across the street that's ready to be leased out. And this project is more than just a coffee shop. It's more than just a bookshop. You can see the success of Senior Hill Cafe up on top of the hill. And that is worked out well, even though we've seen restaurants fail time and time again across the street. It has a community aspect to it that draws people there. It's been one of the few places that you can get a cup of coffee while your kids play, meet up with some other folks, people drive by and see you. It works for those reasons. It has a combination of elements, and that's what the owner's hoping to do here. So the owner of the White Rabbit owns the bookstore. That's a portion of the Senior Hill Cafe. This will be a secondary location for them. They're going to keep their existing location open. So an opportunity to expand their clientele. And the segments of their business that have reached peak demand at their existing location, they want to expand over at the White Rabbit. They haven't seen, they've talked with the other owners on Main Street, the other business owners, to find out what products they can offer that wouldn't compete with them. They have torn apart parts of this building to see what can be salvaged and what can't. And truth be told, there's not a lot that can. It is a building at the end of its life cycle. There have been modifications that make it structurally unsafe, to put it kindly. And so we're going to go through, fix those structural modifications. We are going to gut the building down to the concrete structure on the interior, and then bring it up to energy codes, bring it up to some seismic codes. We are going to really bring it back to life. We've got some really interesting historic photos of where the fenestrations were historically. We're going to open up all those windows because there actually are quite a few, and then add in some new up above. The original building had some fenestrations that were very 1920s that don't, we have some original windows there, but they just can't be salvaged. The glass is in there. It would be great to save it. It'll probably end up at the rebuilding center, but it won't work for a commercial building of today. We are not trying to mimic a historic building. We're not doing taupe. We're not doing exposed grills. We are trying to create a very contemporary building that will catch people's eyes. As you saw in the renderings, it's bright white, and I know we're dealing more with the interior and the program elements of it, but that's not conceptual. We want a building that as you drive around 99E, it catches your eye, whichever way you're coming, because that's probably the most heavily trafficked intersection on Main Street. So we're going to catch
Soon
people's
to be
eye.
heavier, yeah.
That's true. And through the activity with all these openings, we're going to show people that there's life on that end of Main Street and draw them in. And so the owners have a very good connection to the business community, the chamber, and intend to use it as a community space for book clubs, for some community events to get people in and familiar with there. And they do hope that you help them find a tenant for across the street, because that would certainly help their business. But there's enough going on right now that they can make it through and grow. We believe that.
So when you say across the street, are you the building that LEED is in?
We are talking about the building on the Blue Herring site that is
Site.
currently
Oh,
office.
the office building.
office
oh,
building.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's 19,400 square feet of leasable space. is which we are actively working with the property owner to recruit for that.
We have a lot of faith in Eric.
Oh, thanks.
Glad someone does.
Yeah, really. Never heard that before.
Wow.
Thanks.
But
Anyway, can I just add something to
sure.
yours real quick? With this project, there will also be the addition of 5 new jobs for downtown, with the anticipation that there will be actually a total of 7 by the end of December of this year.
So on the parking, Derek, what is there? Are we just relying on the street there, or do they have any parking in the back? Or
yeah, we have on-street parking that we will utilize and continue to utilize. The building takes up 95% of the site. I can tell you that at this point in time, the owner's looking at taking down the large billboard on the back of the site.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else tonight for Mr. Metzen here?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'll withdraw my comment. I only have one concern, and that is that the sign, the wheel sign, is sort of an icon in Oregon City, and understand it would have to come down, but I would like to see at least one face of that sign be preserved at the Historical Society or someplace else. Because I think, I'm not sure how long the wheel's been around, but it's been around since I can remember. And that was the place that when the mill workers got off duty, whether it was 7 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, they'd walk across the street and get a drink. So it's kind of a piece that business itself is sort of an icon in Oregon City. I'd like to see us at least preserve one face of that sign for future generations.
Well, I can't guarantee you that someone will take it, but I guarantee you that the owner would offer it up to someone who would be willing to take it. There's also a couple pieces of artwork inside the building that are kind of
Artwork?
yeah. It's an interesting piece that should be preserved, and the owner's gonna offer that up as well. It has historic pictures and some dated pictures of folks who actually lived in Oregon City, of activities of a wrestling team, a boxing team, folks out on the river fishing. It's a very unique piece.
Cool.
So we can
Okay.
work with them and follow up with you on how that's
All right.
approached. Take care
Okay.
of.
Okay. Let's.
Do we have-
Thank you, dear.
You have
Yeah.
a speaker.
All right.
Yeah, we have a.
So, if everybody's okay with this, we'll take a motion for.
No,
Whoops, whoops,
Carol
whoops.
has.
Well,
and
where
then
we are.
Probably want to.
Well, Carol, I thought you were on something else here.
No, this agenda.
Okay, good. Thank you.
There is nothing else.
Yeah. All right.
Good evening. I'm Carol Polly from Oak Grove. Nice
Grove.
to see all of you. I miss Oregon City terribly, and all of you. So I am here tonight on behalf of Downtown Oregon City Association, and I'm going to read a little letter from Don Scott, and he couldn't be here tonight, and he is our Downtown Oregon City. He's on the board of directors, and he is the chair of our Economic Vitality Committee. So we have a lot of great things going on with all of our committees now. So very proud of that. So he writes, Dear Commissioners, thank you so much for considering the application for White Rabbit Gifts and Black Ink Coffee. Our executive director, Jonathan, had the chance to meet with Roland and Danielle when they were first considering opening a business in the downtown district. They've chosen an ambitious project on a much-needed corner in downtown, and we are thrilled that they are bringing needed gift retail to the district. $120,000 is a big grant, but we realize this project is significant. We trust and are hopeful that the business has the financial resources after completing such a major renovation to invest in the appropriate inventory, working capital, and startup costs. It seems that the number of seats will help the business grow as development continues around it, especially the Riverwalk and Mill site. DOSA, Downtown Oregon City Association, is happy to support urban renewal investment in this type of project. Owner-occupied buildings help stabilize the district and create wealth. It is an important gateway to our downtown. Regards, Don Scott, Downtown Oregon City Board of Directors, chair Economic Vitality Committee. And I would like to add on a side note, kind of to get you thinking, not that you already aren't, but the Main Street revitalization grant could be used on this type of project. This type of project would probably be up that alley as well. And in the future, there could be a possibility, if people were so inclined, to partner together with Main Street to get more bang for our buck and kind of pool our resources. I was pretty inspired when we took the tour of Wilsonville and saw how their urban renewal program partnered with other organizations and other grants and other funding sources to create kind of a package deal. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
So this Don Scott, is he part of the Canby Scott real estate empire?
I'm not certain.
Involved with, I know site selection for like supermarkets and stuff like that, but I'm not
Okay,
familiar.
thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
No, I was going to say thank you, Ms. Polly from Oak Grove.
Commissioner.
Commissioner Polly.
My heart is still in Oregon City.
I know, and thank
I
you
assure
for
you.
your continued efforts
I'm
on
here
Main
most of the
Street.
time. Oh, thank you.
All right.
We
Good.
are-
Move to approve 16-507 Adaptive Reuse Building Rehabilitation Program Grant for 503 Main Street.
Second.
I have.
So Rocky's, Commissioner Smith is, did we get a second on that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. And I guess we will have Mr. Smith speak now, or should we vote first? What do you think?
I typically would
I would
have
like to
discussion
speak
before the
before we
vote.
vote. So this is an exciting project. I just am weighing a lot of factors. I think that one of the, I'm very surprised the mayor has become such a historic preservationist to save the sign. I think
You just don't know
I know.
me very well.
I know you really well, but I think the comment about the sign is a good one. Every time we lose an iconic business or evidence of an iconic business like Munoz or any of the others that have come before, and the wheel is definitely one of them, that we lose a piece of that history. So the more that we can save that, I think that's great. The mural on the side of the building, I have reservations about losing. It's not in the best shape. It is now in a town that doesn't allow murals. I think so every time we lose a mural, we're one mural less, and eventually they'll be gone. And I hope that at some point this commission or a new commission can address that and really realize the importance that those murals play in the downtown and perhaps the rest of the city, and really try to figure out a way to keep those and make them survive. That one's so crucial too, because it's such an iconic history of the Falls site and such an iconic history of the mill site, which when the mill was open, maybe we didn't need so much of a reminder. And as the mill starts disappearing, that visual is going to be even much more important to remind us about the history and the importance of that place. So I would love to see, I know that the mural won't be able to be saved, and I don't think it's in that great shape, nor do I think the building's in that great shape. So if there's a way to photograph that in a way that we can, keep that history, or if another, some murals in Oregon City that have gone away have been documented and then repurposed and repainted in other places. As we get into the design of the Riverwalk and the future of the downtown, and in terms of the mill site, we maybe will see much more visuals of the history of that site and the history of the mill. So I just want to make sure that we keep that as, some way of documenting that before it goes away. I can almost live with that disappearing if the billboard disappears, because that really needs to happen, and I appreciate it. That was the first thing when you look at that the visuals of the concept for the building, the backside, I was like, oh, well, how do we see that if that billboard's there? So that, and by the way, every billboard that disappears, it will never come back. That's a good thing. So that's great. And the other thing, versus the historic building or contemporary building, we all, or at least myself, really want to see us preserve those historic buildings as much as possible. Some of them, as we know, have been so changed and so neglected over so much time that it's really hard to give it its identity back. There's some core buildings in the downtown that have those identities that it's pretty easy to bring back to them. This one, I think, is one that's very hard. The ability to open up windows in that building, the ability to make it a very visual site for when people come through that, it's a huge visual impact as people come through that tunnel, and to start seeing a major change on that side of Main Street, I think is a big plus. So I'm very supportive of it. I'm weighing the history and that, but if we can, keep focused on the history and those things in the future as we build these new businesses, bring new businesses in, I think that's great. So that's all I want to say. Thank you, and it's exciting.
So, Commissioner Shaw, can I interject
Yes.
something? Back on Rocky's comment about documenting the murals, we have asked this applicant to document the mural, and any applicant that is wanting to make modifications to a building with an existing mural, we are asking them to do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
And that is true. I appreciate that, Commissioner Smith, because this is one of the entries to our city, and this is going to be a nice addition to that. And we do have to continue thinking about our image, as our city goes along with other activities here and stuff. So, all right, we're going to call for the vote. Oh,
No.
Dan Holliday.
See, I'm utilizing our electronic tools.
This is weird. Yeah.
Trying to train you guys.
What the heck? Oh, here he's training us.
So I just a comment. I think Derek and his crew, I'm sure, could just peel that mural off the wall and put it on something else. I'm sure that wouldn't be too difficult.
It's a sticker.
Call for the question.
Is that all?
That's it.
All right.
Commissioner Van Haverbeek,
Yay.
Commissioner Ide,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Holliday,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Mengelberg,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Shaw.
Shaw, I'm sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Motion passes. Great. We have two items here, minutes from July 6th and minutes from July 20th.
Hold on. We missed Commissioner Mangerberger in the vote.
My system wasn't letting me.
Oh, okay.
She was marked absent. I re-recorded the roll call, but the system has not caught up. We'll correct it in the minutes.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Have a motion to accept the minutes of July 6th and July 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Pull the board, please.
Commissioner Van Haverbeek,
Aye.
Commissioner Ide,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Holliday,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Mengelberg, Chair Shaw.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, future agenda items. Anybody?
No.
Seeing none. City manager's report.
No updates for tonight?
Okay. Then we will adjourn the Urban Renewal Commission meeting.
I requested to speak. I'd just like to welcome Mike Mitchell. This is his first meeting.
Yes.
And welcome to the Urban Renewal Commission.
Well, we need to we need to recognize Commissioner Ide because this is her first urban renewal. All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take 3 or 4